Hello friends, in today's lecture we will discuss some important points of C# programming. So here is the list. First one we have what are break, continue and go to statement in C#, difference between break, continue and go to statements, difference between while do, while for and for each loops, what is debugging in C#, Visual Studio Community 2022. So let's begin. First topic we have break statement in C#. The break statement is used to exit from a loop or a switch statement prematurely, skipping the remaining iterations or cases. Mainly break statement is like if we want to skip the loop, or if we are using break into any loop or in any switch case, then we can easily exit the loop or exit the execution of the process or the program. Mainly as we already saw that the switch case statement where we applied a break statement, and if the condition was matched, then it directly exit the loop. So here we have a first example, like here we are using for loop for break statement. Here we are applying condition from 1 to 10, and we apply if condition with this, and directly if the condition is equal to 5, then it will automatically exit the loop as it is breaking the loop. So let's see its example in Visual Studio. Let's see break statement with the for loop. First initialization, then condition, then increment, then we use if statement for like where we want to exit the loop or exit the execution of the process. So here we apply for, and in that we can use console.write line to print some message that the loop is break. And see where it breaks. Here we apply break statement, then we can see the full execution of the loop. Full iterations of this loop, that how many times it iterates the loop, and in which condition it will left the loop or the execution. Now let's see the output of this one. Here we have the result, like it iterates 4 times, and on the 4th where we apply condition I is equal to 4th, when it is match the condition, then it breaks the loop or the execution of the program. So here it breaks at 4th condition. It iterates 3 times and breaks it on 4th time. So this is the break statement. Means first we have to initialize, then condition, then apply break statement into any condition, or we can also use that into our switch statement. So for this, if we want to break the execution, break the flow of the program, then we can use this break statement. So here next statement is continue. The continue statement is used to skip the current iteration of a loop and move to the next iteration, bypassing the remaining code in the loop body. So the main thing in continue statement is that if we want to skip the block of code or specific block of code, then we can use this continue statement in our loops. Suppose here we have the one example for loop. We iterate from 1 to 5, and it iterates 2 times, and here we apply I is equal to 3 condition. When this condition will match, then it will directly skip this code and directly jumps to the 4th condition, 4th and 5th as it is when the condition is matching. So it is a thing that if we want to skip some block of code, then we can achieve that with continue. Now let's see the continue statement. Here we apply for loop, first initialization as it is, then condition, then iteration. After that we have to put some condition where we want to continue that code or skip that block of code. Suppose here we want to put in fifth condition, that it will skip fifth condition and move to next iteration. Next we can display some message. Continue here. Block. And next we have to apply continue statement, and next we can see the total iterations, the number of times the loop executed. Iterations. Now let's see its output. So here we have the output of this continue statement. First time it iterates 4 times, and when the condition is matched with I is equal to 5, then it skip this block of code along with this console dot write line. Here it is skipping in fifth condition and move directly to the sixth iteration, and as it is it iterated from 6 to 10 condition till the condition was matched. So here in fifth condition it skips this code block, means the next code it exit and then directly jumps to the next condition. So here is the example of continue statement. Next topic is a go to statement. The go to statement is used to jump to a labeled statement in the same function. It provides an unconditional jump, or should be used cautiously, as it can make code harder to read. Go to statement is like if we want to move the statement directly or jumps to the statement to the labeled statement, then we can use this go to statement. If we do not want to run the next code on some particular condition on some block of code, or directly moves that cursor directly to that labeled. So here is the example of go to statement. We provide some condition if I less than equal to 3, so it iterates 3 times, and where we provide go to statement with some label name, that is start is the label name, and we provide start in the starting of the program. Means if the cursor comes here for 3 times, then it directly moves from here to here. So it execute this block of code 3 times, and in that period of time it skips this code block, and after iterations of 3, then it will come here and then exit the loop. Now let's see the go to statement. Where we provide some loop with the initialization, then condition, then provide iteration. After we provide some condition where we want to jump that cursor like from 5, then we can write some message. Comments here. Okay, then the value, in which value it next we have to use go to statement with some label. Okay, so this is the label name. Wherever we provide it will jump directly to that code block. So as we provide a label name here in the starting of the loop, but if the condition is matched every time it will get I is equal to 5 condition, then it will iterate again and again this one loop. So it is creating a infinite situation. So if we want to skip this one, we can use the some another variable for condition. Here we are providing iterations and for this we can use some conditions like int count is equal to 1. Like if only in that scenario it will use this go to statement. Okay, here we can increment the value of count, as if the count variable is incremented, it will not come here again and again and will not create a situation of infinite loop. So here is the code. Let's start this one. As we can see the result, first it iterates 4 times the loop as it is, and then it comes here when the condition was matched with I is equal to 5 and count is equal to 1. So here we have the matching values and the condition was matched in both cases, so it came here and increased the value of count with 2, and then comes here with the go to statement with the label name. So when the cursor was come here, then it directly jumps from here to here, so it again started this loop. So this is the main concept of go to statement, like it skips the further code and directly jumps from here to the label name where we provided the label name, and then after that it again iterates the loop for 1 to 10 times. Again the same process was repeated. So this is the thing in go to statement. If we want to skip some code block with the go to statement and directly jumps from that label name or directly from that code block from the starting or wherever we provide the label name, then we can use go to statement. And suppose here we can comment this and let's see what it will give us. Now it creates a situation of infinite loop, as the condition is matching again and again while it is jumping from here to here. So it is again repeating this code block like from 1 to 10. So here every time it gets I is equal to 5 and directly jumps from here to here. So this is the infinite loop situation which was created. So to remove this one, we have to provide some extra condition for this label. So this is the example of go to statement. Next we have comparison between break, continue and go to statements. So here is the purpose used in skips, and first we have a break statement. Break statement is mainly used if we want to exit the loop or like stop the execution of the process in the loop, then we can use break statement. We can use that in a loops switch case, as we already saw that in our last lecture, and then it directly ends the loop or stop the further execution. Next one we have continue statement. If we want to skip some particular condition and directly iterate to the or move to the next further condition, then we can go with the continue statement. We can use that in our into our loops statement like that, and it skips that particular code block. So this is a continue statement. If we talk about a go to statement, then if we provide that go to statement in any loop or in any if condition, then it directly jumps from that code block to the labeled name where we provide the labeled. So it like skip the further code and directly jumps to the label. We can use that in anywhere in method, or it directly jumps from that go to statement from the mentioned label. Next we have a comparison between loops in CSharp, as we already discussed about while, do while loop, for each. Now let's see the comparison. While is like if we want to put some condition on the starting of the code, then we can go with the while loop. Like it is entry controlled loop runs if condition is true, or if the number of iteration is not known, then use this loop. If we don't do not know the iterations, like how many times the loop will run or iterate, then we can go with while loop. Next we have do while loop. Exit controlled runs at least once if the task is to be accomplished once, then use this loop. If we want to check the condition after one time iteration, then we can go with do while loop, as it will not check the condition for the first time, means at least one time the code block will run definitely, then we can use this do while loop. And next we have for loop used when number of iterations is known. It is easy to use also. Like in for loop, as we already saw that we provide some initialization value, then conditions, then iterations. It will increment the iterations or decrement it. It is like easy to use for loop, where we know the iterations, that how many time it will iterate the code block. So for in that scenario we can go with for loop. Next we have for each loop used for iterating collections. If the elements are to be read not altered, then prefer to use this loop. In for each loop, suppose if we have collections, arrays of strings, arrays of integer, we want to iterate the items directly in a sequence without modifying the data, without reading the data, then we can use this for each loop, where we do not want to alter any values in the loop, because it will iterate the values in a sequence. We do not use any indexing, then we can go with for each loop. Next we have debugging line by line in C#. It is very important concept of C# programming. If we want to debug some code, like to understand the execution flow, check variables values and fix bugs step by step, then we can go with debugging. Suppose if we write down some code program and we want to check line by line code, that what is the value is coming through this iteration, then we can go with this debugging, where we can check line by line code, or check the values in a variables like integer variable or in any string values. We can check that values, how it is incrementing, what values is incrementing into that values. And suppose if we have some bugs or error in the code, then we can check this by debugging. Now let's see the steps in debug. Step 1, like add a breakpoint. Click in the left margin of the code editor or press F9 to add a red dot breakpoint. Suppose if we want to debug our code, then we can use the F9, where we have to put our cursor into that line of code, then we can press F9, or directly we can click left mouse button if we want to put the breakpoint. Then we have to start debugging, then directly press the F5. In a debug mode, we do not use Ctrl plus F5, we have to use F5. Press F5 to run the program in debug mode. Execution stops at the break point. Next step is a step through. If we want to check the code line by line, then we have to press F10. And if we want to move from one method to another method, then we can go with Shift plus F11. And for the next, if we have multiple breakpoints, then we want to go from one breakpoint to directly go to second breakpoint, then we can go with F5, continue running the next breakpoint, directly move from one breakpoint to another breakpoint. Next, if we want to check the variables, but the program is giving us the values or how many values are iterating through the loop, then we can check with watch window or mouse hover. Watch window, where we can see the current values or current iterating values into that, where we have to provide some variable name, then we can get the current values. Or hover mouse is directly, like we can directly put our mouse cursor into that variable, then we can easily see that values. Next, if we want to stop the debugging, then we have to press Shift plus F5. It will directly stop the debugging and directly give us the output. Suppose here we have the cursor and we want to put some breakpoint on this line, then we can press F9. And if we want to start the debugging, then we have to press this button or F5, but not control plus F5. Now we see the breakpoint as the cursor over here where we put a breakpoint, then it starts that it is highlighting this variable or this line, like it started the breakpoint from here. Like if we want to check the code line by line, then we can press F10 like this, then it will check the values line by line or the code flow, or if we have some program, then we can check this. Suppose if we want to check the current value in our variables without hover our mouse on that particular variable, then we can do it with watch window. First we have to go to debug, then windows, then watch 1. So this is the process, like first we have to debug, then windows, then watch 1. Here we have the window terminal. We have to provide some value like I, or if we want to put some second variable like count, then we can see this. We have both current values, like it is iterating first time. Now let's see for the second time the value will change. So you can see the i's value is changed from 1 to 2. So this is the current value now in variable I. Now it is 3. So it is displaying us the current value in I variable. So as in count, currently in count we have one value. So this is the watch window. Suppose if we apply some multiple breakpoints into a same method, then if we want to move from one breakpoint to another, then we can directly press F5. It will directly move from one breakpoint to another. If we want to move from one method to another method, then we can use Shift plus F11 like this. Okay. So next if we want to stop the debugging, then we have to press Shift plus F5. It directly exit the debug mode and display us the result. As we can already see that breakpoint, how to put breakpoint, how to debug the code, step by step how we can check the code line by line, and how to we can see the values in watch window or with the hover mouse, and how to stop debug. Next we have the summary. Let's revise again what we learned today. First we use breaks. Break statement is like if we want to break that further iteration, then we can use break statement in a loops in a switch statement. It is like it exit the code early as if the condition is matched. Continue is like if we want to skip that particular block and then start the next iteration, then we can go with continue statement. Go to statement, it jumps to a labeled statement in the same method. If we want to use go to statement, then it directly jumps from that cursor or where we applied that go to statement from there to labeled name where we write the label name. Next we have loops like while, do while, for each. While loop where we want to check the condition on the starting of the program, then we can go with while loop. Do while is where we want to run the code at once for one time, then we can go with do while where it only checks the condition after first iteration. For loop is like where we put initialization conditions and iterations, where we know the iteration how many times it will iterate the code, then we can go with for loop. For each is like where we have the collection like arrays of strings, arrays of integers, or any list we have, then we can go with the for each because it prints the data in the sequence. Next is the debugging mode. If we want to debug our code for any errors or to check the code flow, then we can go with the debugging. With the F9 we can put the breakpoint on our code on any line. Press F5 if we want to start the debugging, and also if we want to go from one breakpoint to second breakpoint if we have multiple breakpoints in our code block. Next F10 is like if we want to check the code line by line, then we have to press F10. And suppose if we want to check our variables values or current values, then we can hover our mouse on that variable name, or we can use the watch windows with debugging mode. So let's wind up today's session. If you have any doubts related with today's topic, then you can mention them into the comment section. You can do practice of all these concepts in your Visual Studio. Thanks. See you in the next video.